I'm going to call the meeting to order, and can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Smull,
Here.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Present.
Commissioner Reiners,
Present.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Here.
Commissioner Momsen,
Here.
Commissioner Love, Chair Schlelein.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we need to approve the agenda. Do we need a roll call for that? I never can remember. Yes. Okay. Are there any changes, or do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Smull,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Here.
Commissioner Reiners,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Momsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Love.
Here.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Under state law, the Commission cannot discuss or act upon matters presented under this item at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to comment when the item comes up for Commission consideration. Upon being acknowledged by the chair, please step to the podium and speak into the microphone. Begin by stating and spelling your name, and it doesn't look like we have anybody to do that. So I think we can move on. And we have a consent calendar next. However, I think we might want to introduce our new commissioner, Commissioner Love. Do you want to speak a little bit about yourself? This is your first meeting, and we're delighted to have you.
Hi, everybody. Jamie Love. I run Sonoma Arts Live Theater Company. Been doing it since 2010. Been acting in the community since 1995. Raised 2 kids here. Going to be a grandmother of 2 pretty soon. We've lived here 30 years, and I'm the artistic director of Sonoma Arts Live right now, and I was thrilled to be your treasure artist in 2023.
So she knows of this work we do. She's been on the other side of it, and speaking to City Council about the arts often, which we appreciate as well. So we will move on to, we don't have any presentations, is that correct? So we're moving on to item 3, which is the consent calendar. And that includes the minutes. And the recommendation is to receive the minutes. Do we have, unless someone has a change of the minutes, anybody want to change anything? So do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the attached minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Smull,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Reiners,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Momsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Love.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
And next is item 4.0, and we may have some people tuning in to watch this because we have had 19 students apply for our Student Artist Award. And with that, Parks Director Jahns will take us there.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, Commissioners. This is, I know, a big item, and it's a follow-up to our special meeting that we had last week on March 31st. So as you all well know, we had 19 artist submissions, and hopefully you've all had an opportunity to review their work as well as their interviews last week and their artist statements. So what we're looking to do this evening is you as a group will have an opportunity to review and discuss each of those submissions as much as you would like. Ultimately, we're looking to walk away with our selections this evening. So as a reminder, there's $5,000 in prize money available. It is up to the commission's discretion of how that money is divided. Historically, there has been a selection somewhere between one and three artists selected, but it is your discretion on how you'd like to split that money up. Just a few reminders in that the selection should be based on kind of the comprehensive submission. So it's looking at their artwork, their interviews, their artist statement collectively as a whole. We know this is not an easy decision, so I know we'll have an opportunity to thank them, but just want to again reiterate how grateful we are to all the students who submitted. It was really incredible hearing about all of their artwork and their creative energy and their ideas last week. And as I mentioned last week, I do think the creative future of the Valley is in good hands, seeing what this generation brought forth. So we'll leave it to you, Madam Chair, to lead the deliberations. Typically, a way to do that is we can go through, briefly revisit each of the submissions, and then open it up for you all to deliberate. One thing that has been tradition that we would encourage you to carry on is something that we typically do, notify the selected winners right here this evening. So we have their contact information, and if a commissioner would be so willing, when we get to that point of the artist or artists, as we typically reach out to them and let them know on the spot that they've been selected. And so with that in mind, happy to answer questions along the way. You should have the same packet materials that you had last week. We've also provided just a reminder of the lineup, which includes a student headshot and one piece of their artwork, just as a reminder as you're moving through them to help jog your memory as you're deliberating. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you all, but happy to answer any questions you have along the way.
One thing that should be noted by the public in watching this is that the commissioners have not had a chance to talk with each other about this. It's all been very private. We do it individually and don't deliberate together. We need to do that in public. And so for us to get started tonight, I think we're gonna do things just a little different than we have in the past that I've been involved in. And that is to recognize each one of these students by doing, just reviewing and going down the line and just speaking about some positives of each of them and considerations. So, and I would love to start with Commissioner Love, with the first person on our list, which would be Riley. And then we'll just go down the line and each talk about what we saw with Riley. And then we'll do the same for the next one as well. But since Riley is a theater person, I think we're all quite curious, and we finally have a theater person on our commission. We're very excited to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. Will that stay on? Okay, great. One of the things I noticed as I reviewed everyone is that everyone had such a strong artistic statement, which I thought was really interesting because it wavered then as you looked at the work they submitted and their interview. I thought her artistic statement was great. I thought her performance was believable. I think she was a bit nervous when she recorded it, so I scored accordingly. But I was engaged.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioner Momsen.
I would agree. I thought her artist statement was really strong. Something for me with the theater and music was like quality of recording device. It was hard to not let that get in the way of what the student could actually maybe do in person or with better equipment than maybe a cell phone or whatever they're recording on.
Commissioner Knudsen.
Yes, I agree with the recording. She was one of my top scores. I loved the monologue, the second one that she submitted. I thought she had a lot of potential and was really great at the craft. You can tell that she's passionate about it and was perfecting it.
I agree. I think she really stood out for a variety of reasons. Her interview, she was the first student to talk, and she was very comfortable speaking with us. Her passion showed through. She deeply cares about this medium, which is lovely. You know, the emerging artists. It takes a lot to be an artist, so to see that is interesting. I was really glad we had required 2 pieces. That was super helpful. In the past, we haven't, and it showed more dimension, which was helpful.
I also thought Riley was very good. I had her as a top scorer, although I have many top scores. She came out very confident. She spoke eloquently, I thought, and I think she did a really good job. I did like the second one also. It seemed a little bit more, I don't know, extemporaneous or something, but I thought she did a very fine job overall.
Okay, unfortunately, I wasn't here for the the live interview, but I liked Riley's confidence and the fact that she mixes her art with theater, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I thought she had one big note that I put. She's a real proud student of the craft, and that's sort of beyond her years the way she's approaching that. I was really just, you know, you see it in her statement, and you see, you know, the maturity of the way she's approaching things. You know, how many kids her age are like, I love Shakespeare, I'm going to go and tackle that. It's like, that's awesome. And so you're seeing somebody that's really wrapping her arms around just the craft of what she's doing, and I really appreciated it. Again, yeah, just notes on the quality, just like you guys said, and of the recording. But yeah, just an impressive. I'm just excited to see where she goes from here. That's sort of what I got out of it.
So next, we will talk about Elizabeth. And would you start us, Jamie?
Visual art. Visual art was a little bit difficult for me because I had to do a little homework on digital art versus virtual art versus creating it yourself and what that meant. Again, I gave the artistic statement a 3, and the presentation and craftsmanship a 2. I enjoyed the work, but like I said, I had to do a little homework.
What I liked about her work is there's a little variety, so different, like some is paint, some is drawings, different use of materials. Some of it's very collage-like. I agree her artist statement was very strong, and also while there's some different mediums or materials used, the pieces fit together, I thought, well as a portfolio. They all kind of had a similar theme. Which was also something she expressed in her artist statement. So for me, it's more believable to me if your statement matches your work, and she did a great job with that.
I really enjoyed her painting style. It's not a way I went to art school, and it's not a way I paint, and I really respect the way that she painted. I love seeing those different styles. The way she painted the children, I think it's really beautiful. It's a little flat, right? But it really showcases that like mother-daughter relationship. So I thought her paintings were really, really nice. I enjoyed it.
I thought she was super strong conceptually. She expressed some deep feelings, some fears, some passion about her culture, and it was exciting for that. I think technically it will be fun to see how she grows.
I also very much liked Elizabeth's style. As a art critic overall, I think she was so consistent. She has a very unique style overall. The whole body of work together was a very strong presentation, and the conceptual ideas and the way she were able to do that along with portray the emotion, I thought was incredible.
Yeah, I think that Elizabeth's statement was very strong, very comprehensive. I like her youthful style, and I think that her artwork is extremely colorful and cultural, and therefore I find it meaningful.
Yeah, you guys hit a lot of the things I was thinking, but I really think the emotion in her work is very palpable. Very, you can see it. It's also just the consistency, and she's found her voice artistically. Like you can see the common thread, this red thread between all her pieces. Like she knows what she's doing, and it's exciting. So I really appreciated her work a lot, and just the emotional weight of it.
Next, we're going to creative writing and Alexandra.
I was really happy to see a creative writing entry, and I loved her statement, and I think she has a lot of potential. For me, the story didn't finish. It was a wonderful idea, but I would have liked to see it developed more. It was a really cool, edgy start.
For me, the artist statement in the work, I couldn't find the connect.
Mhm.
That was a big disconnect for me. So it was like I read her artist statement. I was like, great! I can't wait to see what she writes about that. And then for me, this story was like, oh, that's not really at all what she's saying in her artistic statement. Yes, it's a strong piece of writing, but for me, what is her artistic voice? I don't know.
I loved her work. I kept wanting to read her story. I think she said it was the first chapter. Maybe she's written 3 chapters, and her mom's a writer. And I would just want to encourage her because I absolutely loved it. I thought the way that she used her descriptive words, it was her own voice. In her artistic statement, she talked about sometimes maybe it was not being seen or what I really appreciated her was the honesty. I think that with like really great art is when you're the most honest with others and like unveiling that, and I think that's what she did. So I can't wait to read more of her work.
I was mesmerized by her passion for reading and writing, and I think that the process that we used did not serve her well. I think that we should have had more entries, much like we do a visual art or music, where they're submitting more than one piece. Because
We do allow for 3 pieces.
okay, so thank you. That's a good. I would have liked to see more.
Yeah.
So
the same way.
I needed to see something different, and that's the other candidates have given us some different media, different styles, different thoughts, and so I needed more, and I wanted more, but I think she's got incredible potential.
I also liked the overall style of writing. I was mesmerized to get through, and I thought that was a great sign to actually continue going through and wanting more. It did leave me feeling like I wish I had seen more, because just one piece comparatively, I didn't get a sense of where she was going overall, but what was there was great.
I found Alexandra's statement to be very deep, and her writing appeared to me to be very frank and real, and meaningful. But I really liked her prose and thought, or think that it's very, very artistic, and I enjoyed reading it very much.
Yeah, I could just see potential there. I wanted more, which is a good thing. But like you said, it would have been cool to see where her breadth may be. But there's this just sort of innate curiosity with her and the human condition and stuff that just really spoke to me. She's a talent for sure, but I just yeah, I'd like to see more. But yeah, it was great.
So next we have Olivia, and Olivia's visual art.
I saw her interview first before I reviewed the artwork. I watched everybody's video just to kind of put them in my head, and I was so taken with her and her exuberance and her composure that I was very excited to see, to look at her work. And I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel the same exuberance that I felt when I read the artistic statement and her interview. But I have no doubt that she is going places.
I loved her use of color, and like there's a sense of chaos in her work, but also it's like very put together. Those are some of the things that stood out to me.
I agree. She spoke about her love of fashion, I believe, in her interview, and it was an internship or something that she did, and how it sort of awoke that artistic spirit. I could see in like her collage work or something, like placing things together of how she spoke about how she liked to organize on the set and things. So I would like to see some of her fashion or photography integrated. I think she would do really well at that.
I think she's great at talking about her work and also her vision of her future. And you can tell she's a risk taker, which I think is, for her age, pretty rare. And an essential, one of the 8 qualities of a truly creative person. And so I hope she does a lot more experimenting and trying different things, although you can tell her love is fashion and that world. I was disappointed not to see something. After hearing her, I was like, oh, I wish I would have seen some fashion. However, when you look at her work, the work she presented, that she was pushing the limits. There was she's an experimenter, and I respect her for that. It wasn't common what we were seeing. It wasn't cookie cutter. It was something different. So interesting.
I liked Olivia's interview probably the most of all, just because I think she really did speak so highly or so well and so passionately about her love of fashion as well as the other art. As I look at the overall, it's very creative. I thought my favorite piece was the first piece with the kind of mirror, and I thought it was very unique, which I really liked. And I think she's got great places to go. I think fashion is what it sounded like her passion was.
I found Olivia's visual art to be very bold and loud, which was impressive, to me because of, her being just a young high school student. But the pop art that she creates, I think, is very much alive and says a lot, and it's very creative.
Yeah, she's a force. I'm excited to see where she goes. Like, she was definitely her presentator, her interview was. She's excited to explore, extremely creative, bold colors. Hasn't necessarily maybe found her medium yet. If she doesn't need to figure out a single place, obviously, but I think if she can focus that kind of creative energy and that vision, she's going to be something to watch for sure.
So next we have Angela.
Again, her artistic statement really drew me in. I thought she had a lot of varied entries, so it was nice to be able to see different phases of her work, and I look forward to seeing more.
I did appreciate that she had some ceramics and some drawing and some painting. However, I didn't really see how it fit together as a cohesive portfolio. So for me, it was hard to like critique each piece individually and then kind of combine that into a single score because there were so many different themes happening.
What I liked about it is she mentioned in her statement her interest in architecture, and I can see that in what she's doing with ceramics and the detail with that, the apples and the cards and the lines. I know a lot of friends that have studied architecture, and this sort of reminds me of that field, right, of the attention to detail and the lines, so I could see her really thriving in that, and everything was very good.
I felt like Angela was the thinker, and she presented herself thoughtfully, intentionally, and she kind of can see where she's going with it. And the arts are a factor, but not central to her life, but essential to her life.
I thought Angela's ceramics were amazing. I really loved them. I too had a little bit of a disconnect when it comes to looking for ceramic and all, but I was most excited about her interview, and when she did speak about the architecture, it felt like she was really moving in that direction, and I too kind of got a sense of it from especially the building and the detail of the last piece that she's presented, and I think she presented incredibly well.
I think that Angela has a very broad variety of visual art, and she seems to be very serious about what she's doing and the approach that she's taking to produce the variety of art that she presented.
Yeah, Angela's smart cookie there. Yeah, she's great, like a technician. I think, yeah, there was a bit of a disconnect between the drawings or that art and her figurines, like the little astronauts. Cool, love that guy. Yeah, I just like to see where she takes it. I mean, she's definitely lots of potential. I think it seems like this is sort of not a side project, but she'll find her way.
And that brings us to Grace, the dancer.
I was really excited to watch her piece, having watched her interview and artistic statement first, and was very moved by her story of being injured and how it enhanced her love for her art. I found myself wishing that the recording was a better quality because I couldn't really see her facial expression, so therefore I couldn't really see or feel the stage presence coming off of it. I could definitely feel the technical skills that she had, and good mastery of the choreography.
I go see the Snow Maiden like every year, so I'm fortunate enough to see that in person, and it's very skilled. She definitely stands out. She's one of my higher scorers. I think she really, her life is dance for sure, and she is passionate, and she will go until she hurts herself, which we saw. I thought she was a strong candidate.
So we also see Snow Maiden every year with my family, and it's beautiful, the dancers, and she's wonderful. And when I saw her video, I know exactly which one she was that I watched with my daughter. So it's just beautiful work. I would love to see another performance of some other kind. I'm pretty jealous. I can't do ballet myself at all. So, I mean, I just think it's wonderful, and I hope that she can continue to dance. And she was one of my higher scores as well.
I was moved by her discussion about her work, and also the fact that she called herself severely dyslexic, and that that actually works for her in a variety of ways. She's found her passion, and if every kid could just find their thing, I think the world would be much better. I did reach out to some professionals to ask about her because dance is not my forte. I love dance, but I don't know technically how good she is. And I was assured she's very good.
I loved the dance. Her technical quality, again, was something that I was amazed at that age, and to be on stage, and her presence was amazing. I really thought her statement was good. Her emotional ability to talk about the passion that she had, even going through the injury, and I could tell it was still kind of there. But I just thought she did a really great job at that too, and she was one of my higher scores.
I was impressed that Grace faced adversity and overcame it, and that to me demonstrates her passion for the art that she's creating, and I like that very much.
Yeah, she's an inspiring artist, you know, taking on the dyslexia and finding out a way to channel her creative, I guess, passion into a medium is pretty cool. And then to fight through this injury and just a really inspiring girl. I think she's incredible. Yeah, one of my higher scores for sure.
And next we have Sienna in media arts.
Sienna was my top scorer. I was just blown away by her interview here, and then the artistic statement, and then the video that she submitted. I was just really moved by it, and the way she tackled the theme in such a unique way. I was really touched by it.
I second that. She's also one of my highest scorers. Her artistic statement and her interview were scored really high, and then also just the video was very well done. Lighting, angles, sound, theme. I thought everything came through. I liked in her interview how she said that she didn't realize this was something like she could be, not just something to do, but someone she could be. So that really stood out to me. She's definitely very passionate.
I agree. I believe she spoke about learning a lot more in college and about being a director and all that goes into that. And I appreciated that she's looking at more of the whole industry of how to really become an artist this day and age. Everything matched up from her interview to her video and artist statement, and I really enjoyed what she submitted, and I'd love to see more at some point.
So she invited us to go to the Student Film Festival, so I took advantage of that. And her film was the last one shown, the 17-minute film. And it was super well done. I was a video teacher and TV broadcasting as well as visual art. And so I feel like I can really tell when a student has put in the time and the craftsmanship and the story development, which is often very difficult for high school kids to do. That storyline, keeping people engaged it takes a lot for them to understand that. And she was just terrific. I think she's definitely one of my tops. She came back. This is her second year applying, which I think we see each year that they come back, the growth, and I've seen it. This girl's serious about this. It's exciting.
I really, really enjoyed the video, just for the creativity that she used, for the just overall skill that I was so impressed with. She was one of my top scorers as well. She seemed to have everything together, from, all the pieces, the statement, which matched the feeling that I got from her passion for her creativity in video, and the fact that she's talking about going to film school, I think is like spot
I admire Sienna's approach and determination to excel in a world that's being challenged by AI. I mean, she's taking it head on, which is impressive. I think the video was extremely well done. The video quality itself, the sound, and the thematic aspect to me showed a lot of maturity.
Sienna's dope. She's great. I think she just as an artist, and obviously the work is tremendous, but I think there was one question that she was asked during her interview. It's like, how do you expect your art to impact folks or whatever? She's like, impact is the goal. I wrote that and underlined it. I was like, that's cool. Like, she's got a vision, and she's also very, like, while she's very confident in her ability, and obviously we saw her work last time she went through, she's getting better. And she's also very honest about what she wants to do. She wants to work on character development, these motifs and all of this stuff. She's very honest about what she doesn't know yet. And, the potential is huge. I thought she's dope. I really like Sienna a lot.
So next up is Vanessa.
I really loved her use of color. I thought it was vibrant. So much of it looked just like candy I wanted to eat. It was just, she was very creative. And again, I look forward to see where she goes with this. I like the way she talked about how she wanted to use her art and explore other areas of it commercially.
I really liked her story, how she talked about like making her own clothes for dolls, and that her strength was just like, yeah, I can do this. Sure, you got this for me. Yeah, I'll do that. Something that stood out about her portfolio is she seems like the kind of artist where you can look at a work and be like, oh yeah, that's a Rincon Haro. Like, you can just recognize it. Each one, even though she's making different products or art, really stands out as her own artistic style, and the use of color, I think, helps a lot with that.
I agree. I really loved her work. The color and the design of the food truck, and then the meditation app, the pig in the blanket thing. I think it's just, she's got really a cute, lively theme to all of her stuff, and I'd love to see more and see how it develops, because I can see her doing very well at graphic design school.
Vanessa has style. She has it in spades. I love that girl. I thought she was just charming, determined, hardworking, joyful, and she just kind of emitted that joy, which was super cool. She wasn't my total tops, but I think that she is just, I hope she comes back to us if she's, I don't know if she's a junior or senior, but I really am interested in seeing what she's going to do in the future.
Having went to graphic design school and done a lot of packaging, I was extremely impressed. To be able to put it together at this level was amazing. She continued her concept work with the kind of graphics and social media thing that was in this second section here. And although I think she still has a lot of room to grow, I just think she did an excellent job.
I think that Vanessa submitted some very advanced designs, very clean and thoughtful, and I think she's very talented.
Yeah, she's very talented. I do a bunch of work in graphic design and layouts and things, and to see somebody of that young doing stuff to that level is really impressive. But her use of color and the consistency with her characters and all that is really really cool. It's going to be cool to see where she goes, for sure.
I'd also like to add that it really was fun to have a number of parents and families and students listening to each other in the audience. And those of you that weren't here didn't see it, but you've experienced it before. And there's just this warmth and camaraderie that happens, and a couple of them were discovering things about each other. And I really appreciated Vanessa's parents being so supportive. Next, we are.
One thing,
Yes.
want to add on with her that I appreciated was that she had a really practical like application for her art just in in packaging design or in app design in that kind of digital medium, to see it to go from something sort of abstract, so many different people putting in submissions of all different types. Hers was in something we don't typically see in sort of packaging and almost like to a marketing standpoint. Like she's focused. She's got a cool thing. I was really impressed with the maturity of how she approached it.
And next we're going to music and Colin.
I found Colin charming from his interview to his artistic statement. I was just really excited to hear his music, and the one that he wrote especially, I was really moved by, having raised kids here in town. I just love the feel of the song, and I look forward to seeing where he grows as a musician and as a performer.
I agree. It was impressive, especially because he said he's only been really consistent within the last 2 years. So I thought that showed good skill. For me, again, with the recording, it was hard to know for sure how technically sound he was, because it did just seem like an iPhone video. So it was hard for me to know really his skill level.
I really loved the song that he wrote when I did the first one, the link for the Jack Johnson, and which was great. But then when I heard his original, I thought, I love this, and that's what I want to hear more of is his writing and his performing. I think he's great.
I agree. I think as a songwriter performer, it's his strength, and that's where, he's easy listening to, which is nice in the middle of all this 19, trying to do 19 student evaluations. It kind of was a nice chill moment for us, but I think he should be writing songs and then recording them.
I thought Colin's music was incredible. Really liked his version of his own music even more as well. One of the things I would have liked to have heard is, I heard the guitar, but I wanted his voice a little bit stronger. And I'm sure that's just in the recording from the iPhone or whichever happened. I want to see him at Hot Monk. But I also thought he was one of my high scores.
I think Colin is determined. Practice is all about discipline, and if he sticks with it, his career will develop.
Colin's great. To see somebody of that age to catch the songwriting bug and the guitar, I just saw myself like in his shoes, and I'm just, he's a talented kid. I'd really like to see where his other originals are. Appreciated Jack Johnson cover, but the original is impressive. That was really cool. I'd like to see more of that and just see where he goes as a songwriter and getting his voice, not just his vocals, but also just his artistic voice and where he goes songwriting wise. So great job, Colin.
We're beyond halfway now. Jocelyn and visual art.
Yes, I appreciated the variety of her submissions. I liked her last submission the most, which I believe she was chosen for an exhibit or something, if I remember correctly. And that one really, really spoke to me. That seemed to be where her talents were really focused to me on that last piece.
I agree. I would have loved to see more of her drawing portfolio, because that last piece really stood out to me as like very, very talented, very skilled. I love the use of color, love the perspective, the lighting, the shading, I guess. That was definitely for me her strongest piece, and I would have loved to see more like that, though I do appreciate she put in a variety of mediums so we can kind of see her breadth.
I agree. I think she has a great use of color. I would love to see her further develop some of these skills. I think with that last piece, you can see that it's in there and that she's doing very well.
I loved how practical she was. Wanting to be an occupational therapist was very exciting, to have these students understand how the arts can aid every career field and see how this will help and apply it. So I especially loved that last piece. I thought it was pretty original. And I'm often in these pieces, originality is something that's a little elusive for high school students, and I found she was very original.
I liked Jocelyn's work. The last piece again was the strongest out of her selections. There was a variety of mediums which were helpful to see, but I still would have liked to have seen more consistency. The fact that her interview went very well. I really enjoyed hearing her talk about how she's going to use the art going forward in her life, and how she really just wanted to share with people and make them happy. And I was very inspired by that.
Yeah, me too. She wants her art to bring joy to those that see it, and that's really what it's all about. So, I mean, she's on the right track. I really appreciated her use of color and her subject matter. The particular painting with, I guess that's her, at the canvas on the stool, I just love. I like the fact that she says that concepts motivate her to create art, and that's a beautiful thing, because the messaging that she can share with those that appreciate her art, I think is sophisticated.
Yeah, I loved her approach, and the kind of practical application, the going into the occupational therapy thing, and really wanting to bring people happiness through her work, and you can see through, with that painting, or the piece with the cat, just like that, you can't be in a bad mood looking at that. She's great. I really appreciated just her whole vibe.
Next, we have Cassandra, also visual art.
I was really impressed with the use of color, and I use this word in a really positive way. It was very commercially viable. I mean, I could see it used as a book cover or a product advertisement. I was definitely one of my highest scores.
Also one of my higher scores, and I was thinking I could see this on my students' desk as something they bought at a store. This is exactly what they want. I like that they created their own character. Yeah, it's very professional. It goes well together as a portfolio. And Cassandra's only 16, so imagine if they submit again next year, the level of work we're going to see. This is already very, very well developed.
Wow, yeah, I always forget the age when I'm looking at this work, because it is very professional, and that's what I saw as well, because I was trying to think of what word am I looking for to describe this, and that's what it feels like. It's very well put together, it's well thought out, it's had its theme, its character development, and storyline. So I'm looking forward to seeing more what Cassandra can do.
I can't wait to see what Cassandra does in the future. I think these pieces that were presented are strong, that stylistically, literally, they have deep meaning. I loved that they said that they have screenshot in my head. I love that statement. And art is how I view everything. So the potential is huge, and I scored very high, but not the top score. But I want to see more from this student.
I absolutely loved Cassandra's work. His ability to create the character, to show the storyline, the kind of consistency throughout the work, even though they were unique characters, I thought was extremely strong. And I liked kind of the humility in when he was speaking. He said that he was inspired by other artists. and that he wants to continue to improve. And he's great already, but I can't wait to see what he does next.
So Cassandra's my number one pick. I thought the statement was extremely powerful. The quality images blew me away. I mean, it's just like I see a professional developing and taking this art to a professional level out in the commercial marketplace without much difficulty. I think the subject matter is very mature and sophisticated, and I like the emotion and the substance combined. I just find it to be very meaningful art that's being created here. I see vision. I see a very determined person that's confident and is going to do great out in the real world.
Yeah, this was one of my tops for sure. They were really, I was just really impressed with the consistently good work that they put together here. You guys have spoken of professionalism and all. It's just polished and so well done, and you can see that it's a huge part of their just being that Cassandra breathes this stuff and is going to be going on to great things. So very, very impressed.
Next, we have Lily, also visual art, photography.
I really liked her black and white photography, the portraits. I thought those were her strongest pieces, and I would love to see more of that work in her portfolio. For me, it didn't all blend or fit together as a cohesive, and I understand kids are trying to show us like their breadth. But yeah, I think her black and white photographs were very strong.
I really enjoyed her work. I thought some of it you could see in a gallery. It does look very professional. I would like to see more. I loved the black and whites as well. I like how she mentioned like finding extraordinary in the ordinary things, and I think as a photographer, that's something that a lot strive to do. She's got a great eye, and there's really good balance to all of the photos, etc. So I think she's off to a really great thing here.
I think technically she's very exciting. I would love to see her explore themes a little bit more, get a little bit more personal with her work. I think she's super strong.
My favorite piece was the gentleman in the black and white photograph. I thought it really showed the conceptual feeling of the tattoo and the emotion of his face together were really telling. I liked overall the portfolio. I think that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the portraiture, because I think that was what spoke to me the most. And overall, I think her statement was strong. Her interview could have been a bit stronger. I think she did well, but it could have been stronger.
I think Lily has a very, very mature eye. Her photographs speak. And I think in her statement, she says that she wants to pursue a career in art, and I think she's on the right track. She certainly has the talent and the potential.
Yeah, Lily's got a great eye, and I think she just needs some more time behind the camera. She needs to build up her portfolio, shoot some more things, shoot some more people, find what she really loves and can communicate through. She's got a great eye, ton of potential. I think just with some more time, just to get a bigger breadth of work, it'll be really exciting to see what she does.
Next, we have Kai, music.
this one was a real artistic leap. They took a lot of chances, which I always love to see in art. I think it suffered a bit with the recording, but I was really impressed with the idea of it, and I look forward to seeing what they do.
Kai was one of my higher scorers. I thought his music was really strong, different. I listened to that song "Hair on the Floor" a lot of times. I think he is definitely a creative, and I think he had a strong interview. I like how he brought in the windows and mirrors. It's something we talk about a lot in teaching, so it was cool to hear him talk about it in music.
I really enjoyed his work. I thought it was unique. You know, no one else could recreate his work. I felt that that's truly him, and that's what I appreciated. And I also really enjoyed his style, so I'd like to hear more.
I thought that this was one of the most personally risky things that I walked away from the interviews thinking about was the hair on the floor inspired by his grandmother who has Alzheimer's. And for a young person to do something this unique and this personal really spoke to me. I think that he is highly intentional on moving on and really putting himself out in his art. And of all of the pieces that I remember that we looked at, that song was the one that sticks in my mind.
Kai is one of my top scorers. The accomplishment of putting together an album at this age, a cohesive album that I enjoyed hearing and was, I just could listen to over and over. I thought I was amazed. There's a lot of depth in what he talked about, as Connie said, and I think he's really, really great.
I'm impressed and inspired by Kai's creativity. The music business is an extremely challenging business. It's not fair, and which makes it very, very difficult to rely on it to pay for food and lodging. But nevertheless, he seems like he has the passion, whether it's a career or just an avocation or a hobby. I think he's going to continue to create some really nice stuff.
Kai's interview was awesome. He was a really engaging speaker, and really, you could tell loved what, and just had such a clear vision of this is an art piece. This is me, and I was just really impressed, inspired, just as a musician myself, just a kid of that age, just taking a laptop and putting a record together by himself is not an easy undertaking. And the ability to self-edit and know when things are finished and when they're not, that's a very mature quality to have, and I was really impressed with just his approach to it, and just, the creativity being part of being human, like, just, he gets it. I'm rooting for you, Guy.
And on to Jacqueline.
There we go. Okay, hi again. I loved her use of color, and I found her portfolio to be very cohesive, and that she tried a lot of different things, and it was memorable.
I agree. Her portfolio is very cohesive and put together. She has a clear message that she's trying to get across, and it comes through in her work. I like her use of color, very visually, like, just balanced. When you look at your eye moves around the piece very naturally. Yeah, I think she has a definite advantage in those AP art classes of, like, having a cohesive portfolio.
I agree. I think that she'll do really well. She mentioned she's going to major in graphic design, and I know in art school you have to do a lot of different art theories, etc. So I'm excited to see what she does. I like the way she's thinking about the process that she shows, and also talking about consumerism of emotions, etc. I mean, it inspires me when I'm reading all of this of how they're thinking and what they're doing. So I'm really excited to see. I think she'll succeed very well studying graphic design.
I was working on Trash and Fashion Set, and we were talking about students' involvement in ecology and in the environment and their interests, and I was telling the people the people I was working with about her piece, "You Are What You Eat," and I also had mentioned her last vision that she gave us of what she's working on now, which is the funeral home piece and all of the things that we consume in our life, and all that kind of comes crushing in, and you can tell she's not only interested in graphic design, but she's actually kind of interested in changing the world.
I really liked Jacqueline's conceptual ability, and the fact that she kept pushing herself to better composition and the "You Are What You Eat," just to see where that came from. I so appreciated that she continued to push herself into something that was really good. I loved the breaking the chain as well. I thought it held together quite strongly as an art piece, and her interview was very strong, and I think if there was a way to use activism and communications with art, she's got to do it. It's great.
Yeah, I find Jacqueline's art to be wild and creative. I mean, it's really dramatic. As you know, as a graphic designer, the fact that she is sending out, these meaningful messages, I think is very powerful.
Yeah, I really like, she's obviously got a point of view and just her vision of the way she wants to use her art as a vehicle for whether it's, political or otherwise, but bettering the world and that line from her interview was just like, after consumerism, what do we leave behind? To use art to as a communication piece is really cool to see her use it at that level, and obviously she does benefit from her AP classes and having this breadth of really well thought out and well kind of developed works. It's obvious that she's put a lot of time in and it shows. Yeah, she's a force. It's gonna be cool to watch her continue to develop.
Next, Hazel, visual art.
There are just so many strong people here. I was very impressed at her breadth of skill over a lot of different mediums. She's just obviously just an incredible sketch artist. And what was also memorable to me is how she talked about her family and being surrounded by art. I loved that.
I look forward to seeing how Hazel grows. I agree in her interview. I like how she said that art was just like a power she tapped into, and it just like she became an artist. So she just tapped into this thing inside her. I thought her interview was really strong.
When I watched the interviews at home, I started with watching the interview, and then I'd read the artist statement as I'm watching it, and then later on I would pull up the artwork. And with hers, I was like, wow, like the drawings were so good. And it was just a neat process that I sort of went through as I'm discovering, these artists. I would just encourage her to keep creating. She's a wonderful artist. And really wonderful skill, you could tell, in the details of her drawings. So I'm excited to see more of her work and more unique characters or what she could create. She's onto something.
It was interesting to have Hazel come up after Jacqueline because they were so very, very different in terms of personalities and their approach to art and why they even do art. And I love this process for that reason, to see such students that are so interested in the visual arts, but also see their approaches. And Hazel was soft and a quiet force, I thought. And her love of animals and nature really came through. There was a peacefulness to her work. And I am interested in seeing her skill develop and also, her passion with nature.
I thought Hazel did a very nice job of selecting the work overall, and I think the painterly quality that I saw in especially the cat, not the leopard, but the cat was really lovely. I think it sounded like she was maybe hard on herself, and I wanted to encourage her because there is so much you can continue to grow and learn, and she's already done an amazing job. And I just thought she was really talented.
I think that Hazel creates very clean and colorful art and illustrations, and I think she's very skilled.
Yeah, Connie, to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, the yin and yang of Jacqueline going into Hazel, Jacqueline's hitting you over the head with, just really bold, captions and things like that. Hazel had a line that she had mentioned that, she wants to make people feel, and more than just graphite. This is she wants to have people inspired by her work and kind of feel something, get some sort of emotion out of it, and it's very subtle and peaceful, and her ability to communicate subtly is beyond her years for sure, and I'm excited to see where she goes. Her stuff's great. Her stuff's great.
Next is Maria, visual art.
I loved the drama in her visual art. It was very memorable color-wise, and I thought her portfolio was varied. And I loved I think it was the last image with the spider on the back was very memorable.
I thought Maria's making people want to feel curious about faith and her religious themes and how to represent religion in a more modern, maybe even youthful way was very unique to a student artist. Her Lady of Guadalupe, I love the use of color and the emotion in there, and I think her goal definitely comes through for me. When I see that, I'm like, oh, maybe I should try church out, I thought that was a really strong piece, and she's only 16, so can't wait to see what she brings back next year. She submits again.
This was another one that I was watching and then pulled up the images and thought I'd show it to my husband of just look at this work that these students are creating. It's wonderful. And I believe she had spoken about her faith and having people see her faith and being inspired by artists like Diego Rivera, etc. Again, beautiful work. I would love to have one of her pieces in my house.
Talk about power. These images, this is just unbelievable. If you saw this in a wall in Mexico City, it would be like, wow, that is incredible. And I loved, Morgan, thank you for bringing that up and reminding me that she really talked about a modern way to approach her faith and a contemporary, bringing it into a contemporary vision. And I think that's very sophisticated for a person of her age, and I really want to see more. I can't wait. Hope she comes back to us next year again.
I was incredibly impressed, especially knowing that she's just 16. I thought she had incredible creativity overall. I loved the same image. This was my favorite, although there's so many that even if it wasn't super easy to look at, I thought there was so much artistic quality in the pieces overall, and I just really enjoyed and felt a lot of culture in her work.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think the messages she conveys in her art are meaningful, and I think she's very talented and is going to develop into something very, very special.
Maria, come on. Vaya, that is not a teenager. That's an artist. Like, that is really powerful work. That was really impressive, and the faith thing is really interesting because, you know, teenagers and the kind of snarky, or I guess, you know, the anti and pushing back, like, to actually go and bring her faith and what it means to her, and her, like, it's palpable in what she's doing, and that's unique. You don't really see that with younger artists. At least I haven't. Totally impressed. But this piece, I mean, it just kills me. That was really awesome.
Next, we go to Tilly, visual art.
I was really charmed by Tilly's artistic statement and her interview. When I looked at the work, it was a very unique theme for your portfolio. I would have perhaps liked to see another side of that, but I thought it was very creative and original.
I love that she picked, this is it, I'm doing the octopus, and I'm going to show you my artistic abilities through that, because for me it goes better, it works more cohesively as a portfolio. Like, I can still see her wire work, her like painting, and her scratch. What is that? I don't know the right word. Her scratch art, so I still can see like her breadth, but it all still fits together because she chose the octopus. And I love that she brought it up in her interview, how it's like representing wisdom and flexibility. Like, she had a vision there, not like, yeah, it's my favorite animal, but like it really represents something to her.
It reminded me, I went to a Salvador Dali exhibit in London years and years ago, and it started off with his forms that he created for the painting, and shows that progression of that one item. And I think there's just a really neat knowledge here of the understanding of something, and so it shows that not only are you just going to paint it, but you're actually going to learn the form and study it. And I think as artists, that's really what we do, is we start to study form. And so I would love to see her explore not only the octopus, but some other items as well, because I could really see her evolving in this.
Mm-hmm.
Her story bothered me and thrilled me at the same time. Because as a former art teacher, I would see often a senior come in, and they finally got to take an elective, and they found something in themselves in that art class that they didn't know was there, and that is what thrilled me, is that she's one of the ones that got to, and wow, did she bring it. I mean, I think that this young woman has, I look at this piece, and if I would have done that piece, I would do it like 3x4, and it would be big, and this would be on my wall, because just the cropping of it was very interesting, and the exploration of just one form, and the interest in what that meaning of that form was, and then trying all these different media to do it, really very very thoughtful and very unique, and she wants to be an architect, and of course she does. She'll be perfect at it.
I really enjoyed the overall theme, and not only just the overall theme, but that each particular one was so incredibly well executed. It wasn't that, oh, I'm just going to do an octopus. It's, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it great in everything, including the wire that she was using from her scraps, that I thought was one of the strongest pieces myself, because I loved it. She was incredibly comfortable in speaking. She just, in my opinion, just really did a A-plus job on the entire presentation.
I think Tilly's art is fun and joyful, and I really like the variety of the textures.
Tilly's submission really represents what I love about this process and this award, you know, and just her approach to it, to take a single form and do it in a variety of different ways and just explore it and be resourceful and get wire out of the box in the garage, and just, it's, her whole process is so cool, and this is why I love doing this. Yeah, super fun. I just, and her sense of humor comes through in it, like it's sort of tongue-in-cheek, but not. It's actually seriously very well composed. So, yeah, no, great. She's cool.
Alexis, visual art.
Hold on one second. Yes, okay, sorry, I turned 2 pages at once. Again, I love the artistic statement, and I was really excited to open and look at the work. I loved the color and the creativity, and it jumped off the page and scared me a little bit. Yeah.
I was glad to see him return again, and he definitely improved his craft. I loved in his interview when he talked about, like, what does art mean to you? And he's like, art is blessings, art is opportunity. It's the chance to be present with yourself and to sit with your emotions. I just thought that was a really deep answer. I think there's a lot of depth in his work, even though it's drawing, and especially the first 2 with the hustle and then the little baby angel. I love that he's doing tattoo art. I just love the variety of art we're getting in all the students' work. So yeah, I was really happy to see him come back.
I can see him for certain doing art in his life and whatever career he does choose. I think he's very talented. It was really nice to see him back here as well. I could see he's grown as an artist, and you know, even next year I could see that even being further. So it's exciting.
I thought he was extremely mature in his the way he answered the questions. I can see the growth from last year. I don't think I took his work as seriously last year as I did this year. It jumped off the page. It was a little scary, a couple
Yeah.
pieces, and the fact that he's pursuing an internship, has a mentor, was it told us the seriousness of what he's doing, and that he's exploring an art form that many may take as lesser, but he takes this seriously. This is real art.
I thought his overall shading and ability and presence that he had within each piece was very strong. A very accomplished thing to do at such a young age, and really enjoyed listening to his interview. I could tell that it probably did help to have been here before, even though just because he seemed very confident, and I enjoyed very much the work.
I find Alex's art to be very cool, very pensive art with exquisite detail. And he seems to have a very, very disciplined approach. And comes off as being very, very serious. So I think he's a very strong candidate.
Yeah, I find Alexis to be really just fascinating. The work is very personal, but there's this practical nature of it that comes along with tattoo art that he's not, hiding from. But I think just to see the art develop, like, along with the use of light and the way that he can, just in a black and white pen and ink kind of thing, is really impressive. it's awesome work, and in a really kind of unsung medium. You know, especially with the airbrush lettering and stuff, that detail work is not easy, and the attention to detail there is very impressive. But it's obviously very personal, and is so he was very self-reflective in you know, like you said, being present with himself and kind of using it as almost like therapy. Is, I don't know, very cool, very emotionally astute, like great artist.
I would just say, as someone who gets tattoos and like puts someone's art on my body forever, he has like the technical skill and the mindset of someone I want to be tattooing me.
100%.
Thank you. Moving on to Madeline, music.
I got out of order. Sorry. I think she had a strong interview. I agree with the recording. I would have liked to like see the violin and like what her hands and fingers were doing was kind of cropped. So for me, it was hard to see that like technical skill or what's actually happening on the violin. I did love her answer to what does art mean to you, and that it's the best way to capture humanity.
I agree with the video, but she's very talented, and she's been saying, you know, I think since 2 years old she's been doing violin, or is it 2? It couldn't be 2. Since 2. That means my daughter should be playing violin. So I think I'm a little behind then in my parenting. I am impressed. I think it's such a talent, and I think she did a really great job. And I would love to see more from her, more performances, and maybe a little bit better recording. But yeah, she's very talented.
I think she's a really good musician. I don't think she's a great videographer. and that hurt her, I think, but I hope that she will come back. Because I think if someone can help her professionally record her work, it will show what she has accomplished. And I like the idea of the accompaniment. I think it might really help her. I was a bit surprised with as great a speaker as she was and a performer that she admitted she has stage fright. And I thought that was, you know, she's working through it. She's taking it on, and I respect her greatly for that.
I also noted that that she had that ability to speak with still having a little bit of fright there. I thought she was an incredible musician. I can't wait to see what she does more. I would love to see more of the emotion in her face. I think that would have carried over a lot more from what was in the video that we may not have seen due to the production.
I think Madeline is very talented, and it's clear that her violin is her voice, and that it allows her to express herself and share what's inside with others.
She's that is one unforgiving instrument, and to have the grasp that she has of, and just be such a student of that craft, and she lives and breathes it. That's the way she communicates. Just it's impressive. She's really a technician, and I'd like to maybe get some more of her. You know, you don't necessarily need to be a composer to be a great violinist, but like to get her kind of passionate. She had mentioned that violin's different in everybody's hands. You get a different violin, the same piece of music. 6 different people will play 6 different pieces of music. And that was, it's true. She's really loves that craft. She's very good at it, and she's going to continue to be good at it. She's something.
So, that was the easy part. I think it helped to listen to our commissioners. We have a great commission, And no matter what we're going to be going through this next year in terms of picking things, utility boxes, or whatever it is, this process has improved, but it hasn't gotten easier for me. It's, in fact, with 19 people, it's gotten harder. And I found myself obsessing over it and going over and over and over. I have killed trees over this. I really have. Printing out paper, doing cheat sheets, looking at different ways to evaluate. But I think it's probably time for us to do the reveal. And we typically will pick 3 people that are our tops. I'm inclined to pick 4. 4 is our top. Because Monique is so good at putting our numbers together, and that might be. And we have the reason I say 4 is because I've struggled with all these different media that we're evaluating. We're not evaluating all visual artists. If we were, I think it would be fairly simple. 2 or 3, no problem. But we're looking at pretty multidimensional, at least 4 media that have excellent people representing. So I don't know if you're prepared to do 4, and I would welcome another suggestion.
Did you mean that 4 from all of us, or that you would like to see the $5,000 go to 4?
I would like to, each of us, suggest 4
Got it.
candidates that rise to the top. Sorry, I wasn't clear about that. We have done 3 in the past, and that's fine too. It starts to whittle down after a while.
And for the commission's sake, one thing we will do is we'll track, and if you have 4, if you only have 3 to put forward, and then we can start to see where there's consensus across the board. So we'll try to track over here. Just give us a moment in between each of them so we can make sure that we jot those down.
We may take a second too to just review our notes, because this was a lot, and we also heard some things from each other that made us, I think. So maybe just a minute to just breathe.
Yeah, and if you so choose, you are welcome to take, if you want to take a brief 5 minutes to jot down your notes, we can reconvene. We just ask that you don't deliberate during those 5 minutes. So if you want a moment yourself, or you can simply have 5 quiet minutes here on the dais. It's up to you.
I saw some head shaking. I think they want a 5-minute break. Okay. We will adjourn briefly. Do I need to pound on the gavel or anything? Okay. Okay. And now we're going to go down the line and give the top four, starting with Jamie.
My top were Sienna Kelly, Cassandra, Marie Clark, and Alexis Nave. I think I might have missed a last name there.
Ready? Okay.
Commissioner Momsen.
My top four are Sienna Kelly, Cassandra Castillo, Kai Renmark Stewart. I'm gonna go 3 and give it back to me for 4.
Commissioner Knudsen.
I have Sienna Kelly, Grace Berger, Alexandra Carsacco, and Riley Lucilium. Probably pronounced that wrong.
I've lost them. Hang on. I was marking all of yours and counting them. So I have Sienna, Grace, Cassandra, and Alexis.
I have Cassandra, Kai, Elizabeth, and Grace.
So my four are Cassandra, Castillo, Vanessa Rincon Jare, Jocelyn Perez Chavez, and Maria Clark.
Commissioner Smull.
You're making me put me on the spot now. Now I got it. Let's see. Cassandra, Sienna, Elizabeth Herrera, and Alexis. Yeah.
Hmm.
So we have some ties, I believe, for third place. And 2 fairly clear winners.
Are we agreeing that it's going to 3 people?
Can you remind me? I know that we, I believe it was 3,000 last year, and this year we're doing 5. And previously, how had we split it up before, or did we give the full amount to one artist?
I believe last year we gave one large award, and then they went, there were 3 winners, 2 honorariums. And I'm not quite sure about, we didn't have as much money, so.
I can take a look. It is listed on the city's site, but it's varied year to year. But I know in recent years, so you're right, it has gone from 3,000 up to 5,000 this year, and so in recent years it has been typically anywhere from 2 to 3 prizes in recent years. But there's been the ability to split, but it certainly is your prerogative how you want to do that. And we're just doing some quick tallies over here, so we can get you some numbers if that's helpful.
May I ask a question?
Please.
How is the money procured? Is it from the city? Is it private donations?
Great question. I think good for the commission as well as the public to know. So this is part of the Public Art Fund, and so this is money that comes from the city's fund, but set aside specifically for arts initiatives. And so that's something that we may talk about in more detail with our goals, but it is part of, we use similar funds that help fund our ongoing events. Treasure Artist Reception, we'll be embarking on an arts project for one of the park developments, so it's a lump sum of money from the city funds.
So while they're tallying, we could talk about divvying it up and how we feel about giving 1, giving 3. We don't quite know how this is going to all turn out yet in terms of the numbers. And we don't have to stick with the numbers. I mean, we can discuss this and debate it. So we can argue for a candidate if we want to. So not to be forgotten, this person. So, but while they're tallying, we could be making use of time and talk about the benefits of giving a $5,000 chunk, also dividing it up and acknowledging several.
I think that there should be a clear winner and that they should receive a large portion of it. I do think we had a lot of top candidates, as we could see as we're going around. So having 2 honorable mentions, I think would be okay if it was a 4,000 and 2 500s. But I do think that it's a large competition with 19 candidates, and that we should award someone that is very well deserved.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think there is, so there is enough to go around, but there should be a big chunk. So maybe, like you said, either a 4,000 and 2 500s or a 3,000 and 2,000s or something of that nature. I'm curious to see how the tally comes out.
I was thinking that when it comes to smaller amounts, the gift that you're giving is not really the money, but you're giving something you can put on your resume, or, it says after your name that you were the recipient of this. So I think that's worth thinking about too, is what do we want to, what kind of gift are we giving?
I like the honorable mention. That sounds cool.
Count, do we have?
Yes. So in running through the count here, if we're doing our math correctly, but we've come up with the same numbers. So we had, and again, this is pulling from collectively from the top 4, not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4. But so Cassandra received 6 mentions. Sienna had 5. Then we have 2 artists that have 3, with Grace and Alexis both had 3 mentions. And then from there down we have both Kai and Elizabeth received 2 mentions.
Could you say that one more
Yes.
time?
So Cassandra with 6, Sienna with 5, Grace and Alexis with 3, Kai and Elizabeth with 2. And there's others that did receive a single vote, but we stopped at 2.
So it is possible that we now vote on those. And because some of you may not have voted on, or you may be reconsidering how you would vote with this candidate pool whittled down. Would that feel comfortable to you? So
Are we doing like top 1, top 2?
that's the
top-
question
okay.
next, right? So it probably would help to do the top 1, and that'll start to really figure out who a top candidate is, because from what I'm hearing, we want to give, several of you have mentioned, we'd like to give a big award and then a couple honorable mentions. Who might get that big award? That's a big question. So we have 6 to vote with, 6 different people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think let's see who's the top of these 6. You have 1 vote.
No, the one that jumps out that I think Sienna is really a remarkable artist with a real passion and a vision and a future in this, and I've got to put my vote on Sienna.
My vote is going to Cassandra as numero uno. As I had mentioned, I think the statement was extremely powerful from my perspective, and the quality of the images were just so professional. It leaves me no doubt that this is the top candidate.
This is so hard. I find myself kind of tied between two for the top. I don't know if I can do that or if I have to choose one.
Talk about it.
So my two are Cassandra, who I had continually had in my top, and actually I had Sienna very close, and those are the two that I'm waffling over.
So we're in the
If
right
I-
track.
Yeah.
I will pick Sienna, and I probably, in terms of prejudice, the reason, I think she's outstanding, but I also think Cassandra is as well. However, Cassandra's younger, and I'm hoping that they would come back. And it colors my, this is Sienna's last chance. She's been to us before, and I think both are great. The thing that I noticed with Cassandra was that they spoke about not having the tools to create their work. And I was really glad we didn't have that question of what they would use the money for, because it's a heartstring question and we have had trouble with that question in the past. But I felt it, that this person had been drawing on their phone and just got a stylus recently. And I thought, you can do all of this on your phone? And what would happen if this person had giant screens and all these tools? And so I want to see every one of these kids have what they need. But I'm voting for Sienna for the reason that she's a senior and going on, and she's top of her field.
My vote is for Sienna as well. I think she is leagues above and beyond probably a lot of students in film at her age. She's perfecting the craft and wants to learn more about being a director and more of the field, and I have absolutely no doubt that she will excel and use this money towards her education.
I agree. Cassandra and Sienna are my top two, and the waffling's happening. But I think Sienna really presents as an artist who is going on to pursue an art degree. She has a lot of passion and professionalism, as does Cassandra. But like we said, Cassandra is younger and will have chances to come back again. Whereas this is kind of our last chance to give Sienna that recognition. So my final vote is going to be Sienna. But it is a very hard decision.
Yes, I agree. It's a very hard decision, but I think the age is the clincher for me, and hopefully Cassandra will come back next year.
With that, then we've got a fairly clear winner. Only one person hasn't voted, but I think how are you feeling?
Based on the age, which I hadn't considered earlier, I would go with Sienna.
So we have a unanimous. And then what do we do? Do we want to give more? Do we want to break it up? Do we want to do a couple of honorable mentions?
Do we feel that Cassandra is so strong, we just do two this year? Is she so much stronger than our third and fourth places because we all considered her, or them, I'm sorry, I don't know pronouns, them for first place, that maybe there should just be two winners this year?
I think you're onto something there. Because I think, yeah, there's something nagging at me, is just not to recognize Cassandra. But yeah, so I think maybe not a split in half, because I think Sienna is taking the clear kind of win, but maybe $1,000 and an honorable mention sort of thing, or 500. I don't know how we want to divvy it up, but I think I'd be down for two. I think those two are just clearly they've risen above the rest in the voting anyway.
I would like to see one winner. I think that that's what they've competed for, put in their application for, and Cassandra was not the second for me. I did really enjoy Grace. I actually also chose Alexandra, who I think I was the only one that voted for, but I just absolutely loved her creative writing. I think that was awesome. So I would like, my vote was for Sienna. I do think giving an honorable mention or two would be great. I agree with what Jamie mentioned of this is an awesome resume builder.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging them, but I would like to just see one winner of this.
That's fair.
Historically, what have you done in the past? Has it varied each year?
It has, depending upon the field, how difficult it is. Sometimes we give one, we haven't, I don't think we've split it. I think we've given one top one. Ryan, correct me if you remember that.
I have a little bit of, I've pulled up, we have the listing is on the city website of the previous recipients, and so typically how it's done in some years there has been a single winner, and I was mistaken, it was previously 2,000, so we've increased it from 2,000 to 5,000 this year as the potential award money, but in the years that there was multiple, so for example last year there was essentially one winner, and then there's what we referenced as merit awards, and so this goes back, again,
Right.
this dates back significant amount of time, so it's varied, but typically there was, for example, last year you divvied out 2,000 to the winner and then 500 merit awards, and did something similar, it appears, in 2019 and 2023, for example, it was one winner and one merit award, so.
So we could do one 4,000, I think was mentioned, and two 500s as merit. I do think that having a single winner, as we honor them in different places, 4th of July, etc., it's very helpful, and also I think that it's interesting with Sienna that having the tools and having an amazing teacher like Peter Hansen and an amazing program, and this is his last year at Sonoma Valley High School, and it was a farewell the other day at the Student Film Festival. It's a feather in his cap too. These kids are really thriving and being helped in infinite number of ways that we could only imagine years ago kids could have the access to this. This is an extraordinary program, and Sienna has benefited from it, and she is one of those students that you're glad to see found it so that she can come into her own right. So we could do two 500s, one 500 merit, 4,500. We're probably just getting down now to, details, so we need to probably move on.
I had a question. Was there clearly, we had kind of a waffling between two and then narrowed it down to potentially one. Was there two others outside of that, or was it just one? I lost track of my.
There were four.
So there was two others that received 3 mentions during the first round. That was Grace and Alexis.
Right. So we had Cassandra, Sienna, Grace, Alexis.
Correct.
I'm leaning towards what Meredith was saying, that this is like the award is the award and the honorable mention can be in the honorable mention, but there's a couple things. Like, for one, this is what they signed up for, and the award should be given. I think also that while I appreciate the context of the age and the year and all of that, like, that wasn't one of the judging criteria. So I don't think we can necessarily take the context of the video, the teacher and the age and whether or not Cassandra could be there next year into consideration. I don't think that should necessarily play. So if it's solely on the work, let's kind of look at it through that lens.
Thank you. And in years past, we've talked about this award as being an award of excellence. That's what it is. And so when we've struggled with it, we had to come back to that. We want to award excellence. So how do we do that? We've seen a lot of really great work. We've seen some recordings that weren't quite what we wanted, which factors in terms of excellence. They're presenting, and was it really good? Was what they brought to us excellent?
Got to work on that. Were the votes the same for Cassandra and Sienna? The number of votes?
No, we had 6 for Cassandra, 5 for Sienna.
Do we want to do just like a recount of those two, taking what Ryan said into consideration?
And sorry, that was, just to clarify, that was from the first round. This was, for the second round with the votes, it was, yes, we had 6 and 1 here for when we narrowed it down to the 2.
So we did have unanimous for Sienna,
No, 6 and 1.
6 and 1. Okay.
Do we want to recount it, not considering age? Like, go
Sure.
through again,
Sure.
work alone,
Okay. We want to
Nothing
get this
else
right.
factors
And
in.
for those people
just-
out there watching, we're really working hard to get this right.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge the commission for all their work on it, but I think it's a point well taken is to, we can't assume that someone would resubmit next year. So I think looking at what's in front of you for this year is a wise approach.
So shall we do a formal roll call or just a casual vote?
You can do either. If you want to do the final, someone would need to make a motion, and then we can do roll call that way. Otherwise, we can tally it up one more time.
Tally again.
Okay, we're going to do a casual tally. So starting with Ryan.
Sienna,
Cassandra.
Sienna.
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 play ball.
So go ahead, Robin, suggestion?
My suggestion is to give an honorable mention, possibly, I don't know if you want to split the funds, but at least one honorable mention, and that way it would feel right to me.
Okay, should
And
we
my
all?
my final clarification as I'm looking at the page, it was $3,000 total in pool money last year. It was $2,000 to the winner and then 2 500 merit awards. And so that was in 2025 and then again in 2024, a single winner, 2023, a $2,000 award and a 1,000 merit award. So that's how the last 3 years have broken down. And I think
Dave, was the contest presented as or with an award of 5,000 or?
Up
it
to.
was presented
Up
with award money up to $5,000.
Okay.
No explanation of how. No promises that it would be first, second, third.
Okay.
Single only.
All right,
of
so
how
we're
those
not
figures-
obligated to, yeah,
Correct.
give
Up to.
5,000 to one person, right?
Indeed.
Should we go through and like who would you nominate for honorable mention?
Sure. Let's start with you, Morgan,
I'm gonna nominate Cassandra.
for an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, am I supposed to do two?
Jamie?
Cassandra as well.
Yeah, Cassandra for honorable mention, Sienna for number 1.
Yeah, I would nominate Cassandra as an honorable mention.
I would also nominate Cassandra as an honorable mention. I think there could be a split there. I would like to see maybe 4,000, 1,000.
And I agree, Cassandra.
I think Grace should have an honorable mention.
Okay, so 4,000 has been suggested as the top price for Sienna. And I think that we're kind of, it feels kind of good for everybody. And then at least one 500 or one 1,000 for a merit award for Cassandra, or Cassandra and someone. But we only heard one nomination for someone else outside of Cassandra. So how does everyone feel about Cassandra getting 1,000 and Sienna getting 4,000? Do you want to anybody want to make a motion? Are we ready for that? Or is there something bugging someone?
Madam Chair, I'm going to interrupt because I believe we missed a step, and I don't think there's much of a need for it, but for procedure, we do want to make sure that we at least acknowledge that we are looking for public comment.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Public
I just want to open and
comment.
close that.
Oh, yes. Is there public comment? Thank you. We don't have any public comment.
Thank you for obliging me.
Okay. I think we're needing to move on in our agenda, and we could probably talk this all night through. So unless there's another brilliant idea, we're, I think, ready to receive a motion.
I will make a motion to name Sienna as the 2026 Creative Student Artist Award recipient for $4,000, with Cassandra as honorable mention for a prize of $1,000.
Is there a second on that?
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Smull,
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Reiners,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Momsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Love,
yes.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
2 hours.
Exactly.
And
Yeah. And I must thank the commission. You all are extraordinary, and I'm thrilled to serve with you, that you care so much about emerging artists in our city. Thank you.
And just thank you all the artists who entered. Come back again if you can.
Yeah, they're the ones that need to think, just so impressive and so inspiring.
Students and family members, you inspire us. Thank you.
Big up to the parents.
Yes.
yeah, one final staff plug.
And the teachers.
Yay,
Absolutely.
teachers.
Yeah, from the staff perspective, this was my first time through the process, so I want to thank the commission, all the work that you did. I know this was no easy choice, and I know a lot of work between the meetings to do all the research, so thank you for your thoughtfulness digging into this. Thank you, of course, to all of the artists. Just incredibly, I was inspired last week, even more so this week. And just thank you to the community for creating this amazing program that really supports the arts in Sonoma. So really grateful for the process. One final thing, and I'll leave it to the commission to determine whether you want to. Like I've mentioned before, sometimes we do call the artist. I know we are late in the evening, so if you'd like to make that call publicly to notify the winner, or we can certainly table that and do that offline. I will leave that to you all as a commission, as I know we're here at the 2-hour mark.
Is our next speaker here?
The next speaker had to leave, so I have the
Yes.
information, and so we'll be presenting on their behalf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we could call at the end and get through the business of the night, and then we
Absolutely,
call.
and we can see where we are if we want to do that here, or we can certainly
Okay.
make that call this evening.
It's pretty fun to call. It's from the dais. Okay, so 4.2 item, and sounds like our Parks Director actually has the information for us.
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. And as I mentioned, we were intending to have a representative from the Sebastiani Theater Foundation. Unfortunately, they had to attend to something, so unable to be here, but I believe I can speak on behalf of this item, and they've also offered up some information to me, and also willingness to give additional information if the commission would desire that. So let me just find my clicker. So the item this evening is you have a temporary art proposal in front of you. And this is the second public art proposal we've received under the new framework. So a little bit of background information, as you well know, some of you know, and for a new commissioner. this is a process that is fairly recent to the commission. And so in December, City Council adopted Sonoma's public art policy and procedures. And what that does is it provides us a framework and a process for reviewing, accepting, and maintaining items that may fall within our public art catalog. That's both temporary and public in nature. It provides a process for artists, so they know what the process is. It allows an opportunity for community participation, public feedback, and for you all as commissioners have an opportunity to vet this. And the intent is that this is a community-driven and open-ended process, and not being just driven by staff and the artist that itself. So in just October of this last year, we received our first proposal under this umbrella. That was the proposal that we received from the Sonoma Valley Museum of Art for the Eye to Eyes proposal, which we're still in progress and working on them, hopefully for installation in 2027. And so this is the second proposal that we received, again, a temporary installation in nature. So just quickly, within that public art policy, there's a laundry list of what the commission's role looks like, but I've highlighted a few of those that are specific to this proposal. And so your role as a commissioners are to recommend gift loans and review acceptance of potential public art, and also to review and make recommendations on public art proposals, and finally review and make recommendations on design, execution, and placement of art. And so a lot of people's minds naturally goes to visual arts, but that also can go towards performing arts. As we saw before, projections was to fall into visual arts. And this one, which is a little bit of a combination of mediums. So the proposal that we received was from the Sebastiani Theater Foundation, and it is for the placement of a public piano in Plaza Park. This is a proposal that is not necessarily unique just to Sonoma. You may be familiar. This happens in various parks and public locations all across the country, and quite frankly throughout the world. But to my knowledge, would be the first time that this is being proposed in our public parks. Do look to the commission if this has come to you before, especially those of you that have lived in Sonoma for a long time. But at least in documented history, this is the first time that this proposal has come forward. And so essentially this would be the placement of a piano in Plaza Park, location still to be discussed and to be determined, with the intent that this is a piano that's open for public use during public hours. If supportive, the proposed installation would take place essentially as soon as possible. So looking at this spring and summer, the Sebastiani Theater Foundation has agreed to both source and provide the piano, as well as be in charge of making sure it remains tuned and maintained. The Director of Community Engagement, Mr. Tanner Wall, he was a gentleman who was here earlier, is the one to be providing that. He works in the vicinity, visits the park on a regular basis, and has taken it upon himself to make sure that the piano stays in good shape. One thing that we as staff would want to look at, we've had preliminary discussions with the proposing team, but something we want to look at is making sure that it would be installed in a way that could essentially be decommissioned on a temporary basis. For example, if we were having a performance, if it was anywhere near the amphitheater in Plaza Park, we want to make sure that someone's not in the background playing the piano while we're trying to have another performance. So making sure that we're in alignment on event scheduling and any issues that may come up with potential sound bleed. The Theater Foundation did share there's an opportunity for to bring in artists on kind of an ad hoc or spontaneous ability, so either performers that are at the theater or bring in people that are known musicians in town to do some stage performances, but the intent is that this is generally publicly available. If the commission's interested, could certainly look at scheduling performances in the amphitheater, and I think there's an opportunity to partner potentially with other special events, so something like the Tuesdays in the Plaza. I know that the Theater Foundation mentioned this an opportunity as there's field trips that visit the park, they'd have the ability to bring in some individuals to have it be not only a public display of performance, but also an education component. And there's also an opportunity to bring in an artist to paint the exterior of it, so it could also serve both as a performance piece as well as a visual art project. And on his way out, Tanner shared with me that he actually has a couple artists who are interested lined up, professional artists. Again, we'd want to take a look at that from an art component, but there's the ability to not only have the piano out there, but have the exterior painted as well. if the commission's supportive, one thing that staff would recommend is establishing a predefined pilot period. This is the first time this would be in there, and so we want to get a good feel of how receptive the community is to a piano being played in the public park. Some people certainly will appreciate it, others may appreciate the silence and the nature that comes with the park. So I think having a pilot period, also seeing what level of damage, whether wear and tear, if it is tampered with in the evenings. Mr. Wall shared with me he spent a significant amount of time in New York where this were pretty prolific and had pianos that he was charged with placing out there and saw very limited damage to them in a metropolitan area such as Brooklyn, New York. So he was fairly confident, but also understands that there's that risk element that comes with it. And just some images, again, if you do search, this happens, throughout the country. So this is certainly something that has been replicated, but for a time here in Sonoma. And so Mr. Wall, unfortunately, did have to leave this evening to attend other duties, but he said he would be happy to. He would love to come back to meet with you all as a commission. Happy to answer questions, provide more detailed information. And so with that, essentially, what we're looking for this evening from the commission is your general thoughts, feedback, questions on it, and essentially 2 paths forward. One thing that you can do is essentially give your conditional recommendation to move forward with this proposal, and for the Theater Foundation to work directly with staff, and as we get into our next item, potentially with representatives from an ad hoc committee. Or you can request that if there's more information that you would like to be brought back at your next meeting, more details, potentially on placement, scheduling, to discuss with Mr. Wall, we can certainly bring it back for your next item. So what we're looking for tonight is your general thoughts on it, any questions that you would like staff to garner from the foundation, and your direction on how you'd like to see us move forward with it. And so with that, happy to answer any questions you may have, provide any additional details that we know at this time.
I think it's awesome. I think it'd be really, really fun. I don't really have any questions. I'm down to send it forth.
Yeah, I think it'd be great as well. 2 notes I had is at night with like the hotels and the noise, so that would just be a concern of the guests. I don't know how loud it would get or the placement of it, so when taking that into consideration. And then anti-graffiti coating it with the paint or whatever. One black marker could do a lot of damage, so. But I love it. I think it's great for kids and the community, and I think a pilot would work well, and just knowing that we could move it or sort of test it out, yeah.
I think it's a beautiful idea. Is there any way to get public comment on it before it's put out there? Or are we just planning to put one there and see what happens?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I think the original intent was to essentially put it there and use the pilot period as that comment period. But there's certainly ways to slice it. I mean, it could be a very short period of time that we place it out there for, and or if the commission's interested in having additional public comment on that, we can certainly push information out. That's the intent of this meeting, but we know as we get to our next item and we're talking about communication and how we push some of these arts and culture initiatives, in order to get public comment, we need to have people present to
I think it's
it.
a wonderful idea. Anytime you can have something that prompts spontaneous joy, I welcome it,
I agree. Very fun. Can't wait to play on it. It says during park hours. Isn't that 24/7?
So technically park hours, and I'd have to, it's not sunrise to sunset, I believe it's till 10 o'clock at night. And so, but I think a point well taken, we want to further define that if 10 o'clock on a normal Tuesday night is too late to be playing piano with our businesses and hotels around.
Great, thank you.
I think that the pilot period sounds like a great idea. It's going to have more, excuse me, it's going to be able to gain more fun and more people playing, so I don't know how long it will take before you'll get the real grasp of what it could be, but I think that sounds great.
I think if it's coming spring, summer, farmer's market will be happening, so you'll get a lot of traffic on there. As far as the visual artists, as this is something we're going to approve, will we also get say in the art that goes on the piano?
That's a great question. And so as we were talking through it, and I know he shared the information with me about a potential artist for it, I think that would be something we'd want to hear from the commission, and potentially if we did either want to assign an ad hoc directly to this, or if we're looking at creating an ad hoc to look at temporary and public art, if the commission is interested in that what that art looks like, we absolutely can bring that back either through the same process, or we can make that a continuation of this project before it is before it's painted, that the commission is able to view that art as well.
Maintenance is always a concern with pianos. I was a piano player in my childhood, and piano tuning was always expensive in my house as we worried about how those instruments were cared for. Is there a way or a place we would store that piano that is, or would it just sit out all the time?
Yeah, that's a great question, one of my initial ones. And so I know the Theater's Foundation, the intent is that it would be out on a consistent basis. It's not something that would be wheeled in and out every night, because I think the intent is also, we got to look at it from a staff, or whether it's city staff or the foundation staff, that it's fairly low maintenance. And so there was not a whole lot of concern with the weather, whether that becomes seasonal and you're actually in the wintertime. Maybe that's when we look at whether it actually stays out when we have obviously very inclement weather that's in the horizon versus just being out in the sun and the elements of the summertime. But I think something that we would want to look at and work with the applicant in a little bit more detail in their experience with having it out in the elements 24/7 and year round.
It's kind of a cool place where, you know, old pianos can go to live out their last hurrah. People are constantly donating pianos to the theater, and I wish I had room for all of them, because I feel sorry for them when they go to the dump, you know? It's just a beautiful way to, you know, get a little more joy.
Huh. Okay, yeah, I think having a public piano would be a wonderful creative resource. I think it'd be healthy, and it would bring people together, and be a great, resource for our community to have. Yeah. I would be concerned about it being weatherproof, because there's nothing worse than a malfunctioning piano sitting out there, tantalizing a excited musician.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys have come across any of these things in the wild, but like, that's kind of the kitsch. They do get funky, they do get out of tune, and they've got, loud art. They're kind of just, they're there to interact with. You're not supposed to sit down as a virtuoso and use them. They're just supposed to be kind of something to the public can interact with. I think it's super fun. It will go out of tune, and it will, the noise thing might be an issue, but I think for a pilot, let's see what it does. I am down to see how it goes, So yeah, I think it's.
Do they have an initial piano?
As it sounds like they have, similar maybe to your experience, it sounds like they have several pianos to select from at the moment. But they do have a piano that they are ready to mobilize when the time is right.
And if it's a success, we'll have so many pianos for all our other parks.
I think a friend of mine last summer went to the Presidio, and they had pianos all through the park, and they had Sunday events with professionals playing pianos in the Presidio, which I thought was really a fun idea. I think what is charming about this, and especially about this moment, is that we've crafted this public art policy, and and part of the public art policy is to have a proposal form that the public can use for creative ideas. And our public is already using it, and we haven't really even revealed it. It's just being discovered thanks to people coming to our parks director and gathering momentum. And while some things are more problematic to initiate than others, and some things may need to be tabled because they become too complex an idea, this is a simple idea, a simple, joyful idea with a person that has expertise to handle it. And I think that the way that we gather feedback and the way that we involve the public in decision-making about these creative endeavors is very important, that we really want to hear what the public thinks and be guided by what the public needs in terms of culture and the arts. And this is a good example, a good test case as we continue to grow and learn. So how we would initiate it, it would be interesting to have a little bit of knowledge about how other cities had done it successfully, what they would be advising us about as we do this, because right now we're assuming one person will take care of it. We do have a parks department, which helps, but you guys are overrun in a lot of things you're doing, so it would be good to pilot it, see what it involves, but also be thinking about it.
And one thing I may recommend, and certainly Commission take it for what it's worth, and we can assign it now or potentially look as we get into our ad hocs with the next item, is forming either an ad hoc, and I think that's the term we would want to use. So this proposal came forward fairly recently. There's clearly some answer or questions that we would like answered, a little bit more additional information. And so if the Commission is generally supportive of it, if there is one or two commissioners that'd be so willing as we get some of those answers about placement as we look at benchmarking, I think that would be helpful for the applicant, because I do think there's a few additional conversations that need to happen before we roll this directly out in the park, but we would like to have, it sounds like there's support for it, and if we'd like that to happen prior to your June meeting, I think having a member to be at least a sounding board to support staff and the applicant in the finalizing of those details for that pilot program, I think would be beneficial. So we can certainly look to assign that now. So we won't assign that now because we didn't include that as one of the actions on the agenda. But as you look ahead and as we're looking if there's people interested in being part of the temporary or the public art ad hoc, if that group would be so willing, I think using that as a sounding board, and I know we already have a group established for that, so if we don't create a new ad hoc, perhaps those members would be willing to be part of that sounding board.
So I think we need to go back and remind ourselves of who that is on that temporary permanent committee. I believe it's Morgan, Meredith, and myself, but I'm not positive about that.
Give me 1 second, I'll look it up.
And as we're looking at that, so I think with that in mind, knowing we won't assign a new ad hoc to it, I think again the decisions if we're supportive of it and give staff the directive to move forth with establishing the pilot period, and if that happens before June, is go ahead with the process. We'll continue to update you as a commission, or you can request that additional information comes back in June.
We actually had Meredith, Lauren, who's not with us any longer, and Scott.
So as we go to goals, then we'll discuss this. Great, thank you. We're getting a lot of assignments, so I think maybe sometime soon we need a spreadsheet so we can all keep track of what we're supposed to be doing. It would be helpful.
I can absolutely send that out to the
Thank you
whole
so
commission.
much. Appreciate it. So I think with that, we're probably ready for a motion or a little bit. Do you want to discuss more how to handle this, or someone want to move on this?
Sorry, just public comment real quick.
Please. Oh, public comment. It's hard with nobody sitting there. I keep forgetting those people out there. No public comment, so now we look for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the temporary public art proposal from Sebastiani Theater Foundation.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Smull,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Aye.
Commissioner Reiners,
Yes.
Commissioner Momsen,
Aye.
Commissioner Love, Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein.
Yes,
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
wonderful. Thank you. And we move on to 4.3. And again, we turn this over to our Parks Director, Dave Jahns.
Thank you, and yes, this is our final item on the regular calendar, and so this is a follow-up from your February meeting where we initially discussed a work plan, so I will breeze through the background information, as we covered a lot of that, but as you all know, the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission established a work plan for an official work plan for the first time last year. And the reason that we put a work plan in place, and for our new commissioners, the Fine Arts Commission serves an advisory role to City Council. And so the work that you do is intended to not only is to complement the work of the City Council, to be the subject matter experts on arts and culture initiatives that come before city staff, before the City Council, is to dive deeply into those. Also to be a voice for the community. And so the City Council encourages that each of the advisory commissions establish a work plan. What that does is it makes sure that the work you're doing is in alignment with the work that the council has established as priorities and items that you have considered priorities, and keeps everybody moving essentially in the same direction. This is your overarching priorities for the year. That, of course, does not encompass all the work that you do as commission. It doesn't need to be the detail of, something like we just did. You don't need to put in your goals necessarily that you're going to review temporary public art proposals. That's part of your charter, but it's generally things that you want to work on for the year. And I use the term that you all want to work on because staff also has initiatives, and so staff is here to support you in your work and work collaboratively with you. But this work plan isn't intended necessarily for work that you think should be only staff priorities. It's things that you as commissioners have heard as priorities in the community, heard from City Council that you want to focus on as a Cultural Arts Commission. And so I will also share it's not uncommon for goals to carry over from year to year, and I know we've talked about that timeline before, as here we are in April, looking at your work plan for the 2026 calendar year. So that leaves you with 8 months rather than a full deck of 12 months. And so something that we'll continue to look at the timing of how City Council goals are aligned, how those can be adopted by the Commission to give you a little bit more time to work on. But with that in mind, it's not intended that every single goal gets accomplished in that 1 year span, but they should be looked at ones that you can make significant progress during the span of that term. So just as a refresher, here's an overview of the Cultural and Fine Arts priorities and goals from last year, and as you can see, made significant progress on all of them. And so a lot of these, some of them you can check off that were completed. Others are still in progress. One that has carried on and we have listed for this year for your consideration is that continuation of those annual programs. And so certainly an opportunity to discuss those annual programs, and those of course can be added, modified, removed at any point during the term. But we felt important to at least call out those annual programs. So there's a look at last year's. One thing I want to share with you is City Council's goals. So at the end of January of this year, City Council gathered to discuss their goals, and then on February 18th, mid-February, they adopted their goals for the year. And so this is the full 5 categories that we've listed, with the majority of areas that overlap into your areas of expertise falling primarily into one bucket, but really in 2 of them. I did highlight there the arts. This is the first time that the arts has actually been spelled out specifically in City Council's goals. So I think that is a big accomplishment, a big testimony to the work that you are doing, to the creative work that's happening in the community, and City Council's recognition of the importance of the arts within Sonoma. Again, I won't read through all of these. These are the sub-goals from that Parks, Arts, Recreation, Community Services City Council subcategory. I've highlighted ones that I think have a direct correlation to work that you may be working on in the arts and culture sphere. But I think if you look at any of these, there's an opportunity where you can intertwine art into them. So I certainly don't want to limit it to these, but these are the ones that I wanted for you to take a look at as we look at, and even on the bottom of that left-hand column is assessing activity needs. I think that was really intended for, initially when they're talking about this recreation activities, but I think there's no reason that has to stop with your traditional recreation, and that arts and culture can't be a component of that. Of course, the work that you do both with the commission and in your personal lives supporting nonprofit organizations. The one that specifically calls out arts is develop arts programs, projects, and cultural partnerships, including sister cities, and identifying funding sources to support these efforts. And then the final bullet, that's actually from a separate category, but I wanted to include it here on one slide. So that comes from the economic development category is to identify opportunities to strengthen and diversify business sector, including cultural and creative enterprises. So again, these are specifically from City Council's adopted 2026 goals. So at your February meeting, you, as a commission, assigned members volunteered to be part of an ad hoc commission. So Commissioners Momsen, Knudsen, and Schlelein formed an ad hoc committee, met to discuss both previous year's goals, reviewed City Council's goals, talked about things that the commission has brought up and or felt that could be priorities for this year, and have put together this draft summary of potential goals for your consideration. Again, this doesn't encompass all of the work that you would be doing as commissioners, and these are, in a sense, kind of high-level summary categories. And so one way to look at this is if there's agreement on these goals, or as you get to the final agreement of your list of goals this evening, one opportunity would be to assign ad hoc committees to these specific goals, and those ad hocs can put together measurable initiatives within those areas. And so that way you can say that at the end of your term, here's what we're trying to accomplish, here's where we've made progress, here's where this goal made it need to continue on to the following year. So that's one way to look at it, knowing that some of these are specific in nature, whereas others, they can be interpreted in different ways based on initiatives. And so one way to do that is to have your ad hocs really dive into these. That's something that I've seen be successful, is while it may seem like a lot, but assigning an ad hoc to each goal allows for progress to continue. And one thing I promise is we won't, if you're on multiple ad hocs, is hit you with 3-4 meetings in a week or anything like that. We will make sure that we spread those out accordingly. So these are things that would be worked on over the span of the term, potentially carrying on into the next calendar year, not things that all need to happen simultaneously. And so with that, the intent for tonight is for you to review this draft proposal of goals, have a discussion on it. If there's things that you think need to be modified, if you think there's things that to be added, we certainly can do that. And so this evening, you can consider adoption, and so you can make minor changes. If you think we need to throw these ideas out, go back to the drawing board, we certainly can do that. Just know that would mean that we need to come back either at your next meeting or call a special meeting in order to do that. But we certainly can make changes within the wording. And one thing I will point out is I did add on here, continue the annual programs. That you can determine whether that should be an ongoing goal, or if that's simply something that you interpret in your minds that they're items that you need to be done. One reason for keeping on here is it would allow you to create an ad hoc for that and something specific to that. A lot of times, for example, the treasure artists, the creative student artists are highlighted in our 4th of July celebrations, and so creating an ad hoc for that would allow you to do some work on that prior to getting to the 4th of July elements. So with that, happy to scroll back through the slides, answer any questions, but I also want to turn it back over to our ad hoc committee who did all the heavy lifting to get us to this point on the draft goals and priorities.
So, Commissioners, one of the things driving these goals and priorities was City Council goals. We needed to align them with the City Council goals. And so we looked at these at a fairly high level, but we also talked about the things we're working on, and utility boxes, and hoping someday to do art on loan and maybe have permanent artwork, and these public art proposals, and where those sorts of things fit. And does that fit with our current City Council's goals? Because they've given us an amazing amount of support in their goals, which is very unusual for a City Council. And so we wanted to really work with them in partnership.
I just have a few notes on this. The developed process to support our communications, I think that's really important. I know we talked as an ad hoc about that. I mean, we can be doing all these great things, but how are we letting the public know about it? How are we branding ourselves in the community? Are we present at a lot of these events as commission members? And how could we be more present at them? The annual programs, I think it would be great to get an ad hoc, because this year we were able to get $2,000 more, and I think that was donations made at the treasure artist reception. And so that was a creative way to start to get some funds in order to give to the youth. And we also got 19 applications in. So I think that there's even more that we could expand on that. It's a great opportunity for the kids. And of course, the funding opportunities, there's a lot to explore there for that, so, yeah.
Commissioner Momsen, do you want to add to that?
No, great work.
Any questions, any concerns, wordsmithing, thoughts? We've worn you down.
I think it's exciting for me when I first came on the commission. I'm like, so what do we do though? And now it's like, oh, we got stuff to do. So that's a positive improvement.
I think we're at a nexus. We're really at a point where we have a director of parks now. We have a city council and a mayor and a city manager, interim city manager is also very on board with understanding the arts. We have public art proposals coming in and students applying for things that we never really had. We're actually moving, and I think that focusing our work by looking at these goals, even though they seem like a lot of words there, they are focusing. We could be doing all kinds of things, one-offs everywhere. These are pretty strategic. These are things that when we leave the commission, if we can get these onboarded and continue to work, the next people can carry on. And the handoff is super important. So the public art funding, as all of you who have been on the commission or observing the commission from afar or hearing about it before you were on, the public art, getting this sustainable funding is really critical. And we're missing grants. We don't have a group of people that are really scouring the California Arts Council grants and all of the different grants that we should be able to get. It would be cool to have art in our cemetery. So, and maybe there's a grant out there for it. So, I think that's a really important one, and I like that it's placed at first because it is something that we are now positioned to start to solve some problems that this commission has had for a long time.
So if no other comments, we would be looking for a motion to adopt as your goals and priorities. The one thing I will share also is that at any point during the year, you can request that this comes back. It can be modified. You can add, if there's another priority that comes to light, you can certainly add that in there. If City Council were to modify theirs, I'd be the first to let you all know. So there's the opportunity to modify this over time, but we'd be looking for a motion. And if the commission is willing or interested in creating ad hocs for these specific goals, now would be the time. And also for the record, as we get there, we do want to make sure we open for public comment on this item as well.
So, should we have public comment at this point? Okay, public comment, right. You might look these over personally and see if anything would be your jam that you would thrive at, because we want people thriving and enjoying things. And obviously the creative student artist and the treasure artist, we've done a lot of ad hocs. They change all the time. We'd even talked about whether that goal is just understood, and we'll deal with those kinds of projects. Annually, they change. We have different treasure artist committees this year than we had last, and those can rotate. But I think these are pretty solid goals, and we first need to adopt them. Is that correct, formally?
That is correct.
Okay, so we need a motion first to adopt it before anybody decides if they like some of these to actually participate in.
Yeah, I move to adopt the 2026 draft goals and priorities.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Smull,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Reiners,
Yes.
Commissioner Momsen,
Aye.
Commissioner Love,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein.
Yes,
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
great. Next, thank you. Next up, anybody like one of these and want to jump on them?
My one comment, and then I promise I'll be quiet and let you talk about them, is the last one. One way is if you'd like to keep that on as a goal, you don't necessarily have to create an ad hoc for the overall goal, knowing that I know that like creative student artists and the treasure artists had different ad hocs. The one thing I would recommend if you want to work on the 4th of July festivities before we assign an ad hoc to it, that assigning an ad hoc to and you'll have to correct me, I don't know if we typically highlight the creative student artist or if it's just the treasure artist and the 4th of July.
We've had both.
Okay, so with that in mind, you may want to assign an ad hoc to that, knowing that that could change down the line to be more specific when you're talking about, say, planning the treasure artist reception next year or the creative student artist process. So.
Thoughts on the continuing programs and whether we should make a formal ad hoc or let it roll?
Yeah, I mean, potentially it could go underneath diverse public art funding opportunities because, I mean, I see that as maybe the funding. I mean, I think we can make an ad hoc or just as they come up. We always make the ad hocs anyways because it's a continuing goal.
Yeah, I think it could stay as a goal. Well, those are usually execution of the events and kind of like tactical sort of things. I don't know if we need to put one together right now. I would like to identify opportunities to support and strengthen cultural and creative business enterprises. How would we apply that? Like, what does that look like?
It aligns with city goal, which is definitely the economy. There's a lot to explore there, and it's a big topic. I was going to talk about it in my report at the end, but I have been working with Patricia Farrar Rivas, one of our city council members, who is working with a woman named Laura Callahan. And Laura Callahan is an expert in creating the creative economy in different communities. And it's a fascinating subject. And Callahan is developing a model program. So it's a topic that we're dipping our toe in, and I think it's an exciting area that needs developing as we look at distinguishing Sonoma as a creative community and diversifying our economy.
And just one follow-up piece of that, so just a little context to how that came about, is it does fall in the economic development goals, and so certainly something that our economic development staff team will be looking at as a whole. So I don't think it is the commission's responsibility to solve that issue altogether, but if there's opportunities to that come forward to work in collaboration, or that you in your role as commissioner and your connection to that creative economy, creative community, bring those to light. There's certainly, that's where I think you have the opportunity to shine here. So it would definitely be multiple commissions, staff members working on that goal, and so it's where we can make inroads.
Other questions? Anybody have a particular ad hoc they'd like to join?
I would be honored to work on the treasure artist committee.
That's appropriate. As a treasure artist, would be wonderful. I think would be the first time ever that a treasure artist would be handling the treasure artist.
it was a great experience, and I was so impressed at how it all came together, and I'd just love to give back a little bit.
Others?
I would be most interested in the develop process to support city's communication strategies and highlight arts and culture initiatives.
I'd love to do them all, but I'm not going to. I guess my family wouldn't be that happy with all the time, but I enjoy it very much. So I'd be happy to do the economic development one, as that's my role for work as well with arts. The diverse public art funding opportunities, I already have lists of grants that are available. I don't have time to do the grant writing, but I have all the knowledge of a lot of that, and then also the communication strategies of how to implement and move some of those things forward. So depending on the time needed, I'd be happy to help with really any of them. But
It feels like we're getting leads for each of these, or lead people on our ad hoc that perhaps could take these, and then we could add more in as we get the work done too. So think about whether you want to lead an ad hoc as we're doing this. Commissioner Reiners.
I have done a bit of work in the community that I lived in before on the economics, and saw how it really changed, and I loved it. I don't know how much bandwidth I have, but it's where my heart is.
So I'm curious to know more about the toolbox, public art toolbox. Can you tell me what that consists of?
And I'll probably defer to Chair Schlelein to run through that. A lot of that predates my time here, but essentially, it's an asset that is intended to live on the city's website, that if you're an artist that is either new to town or interested in pursuing public art, it's a host of different resources depending on whichever avenue you're looking to pursue. But I turn to you, the chair, and the commission to explain in better detail.
A very real example is the public art policy lives there. And so people can hop on that if they have an idea. They bring us a piano proposal, and then boom, you got a piano. So that's one tool. It's a continuing resource for the community to understand what we're doing. We could be doing a history of culture in the community. We could be, it is in a way a communication tool as well. But we started it with the public art policy. The public art policy lives there. We could have a map of the visual art examples throughout town. We could have a list of the treasure artists. We could have examples of student work and why they were, what they submitted and their interviews and that sort of thing. It's a community living room of culture.
And just to add to that, can we combine develop the process to support city's communication strategies and with complete and promote the toolbox? Because I feel like where we're at with the toolbox, there's some things that we can finalize. It's also would be going with our communication of this toolbox. It could be doing the public art map, a couple other items, almost putting it as a brochure of some sort, or PDF with a flow chart, and then how are we communicating that? I'm just wondering if that's possible, just to do one ad hoc for two of those goals.
Certainly. So just so I'm clear, you're looking at keeping the two goals as listed, but having a intertwined
One
ad hoc.
Because
Absolutely.
to me, they actually could go together, because as we finalize the toolbox, we want to develop a process of how are we communicating that this toolbox exists, and then also work on all of our strategies and branding around how we're letting the public know about it.
Yes, that's absolutely possible.
I would be on that committee.
I would be on that as well, yeah.
Okay, so we've got two on toolbox that would correspond with communication. And Scott, did you have a thought on toolbox? Okay. Ryan, thought?
Yeah, my bandwidth is very minimal, but I can, the creative business enterprises thing looks right up my alley. I can help out a bit as much as I can. I just, yeah, if we need somebody, I can jump on it. I'm just pretty short on hours of the week.
So we have a few people on, but not 2 or 3, one in some cases. I can join any of these.
Yeah, I
so.
think if we think we do have 3 on the, if Commissioner Smull is interested.
Yeah, I
in
was just
the-
waffling. You can
in
count
the,
me in.
the creative business enterprises. I do believe think we have. So essentially, the economic development, we have 3 on that because we have Commissioners Knudsen, Reiners, and Smull on that one.
Are all committee members have to be on the commission, or can they be outside folks?
Great question. I should have given a little more context. So, do need to be members of the commission, but doesn't mean you can't pull in experts. And so the intent of creating these ad hoc committees is it allows us to not have to, we can do work in between our official meetings. So we keep it to 3 members or less. You don't have a quorum. And so if you have individuals, experts in the field that you want to bring into those discussions, that's absolutely allowed. So members of the public can participate. It's just not required that we notice it and follow the same rules that we have to for community participation like we do for these regular meetings. So you can't make final deliberations or come to final decisions, but it allows you to get work done between these meetings.
I think we also have 3 for the toolbox and communication, if Meredith, Scott, and I are in agreement. Okay.
And I'm happy to join Meredith on the public art funding. And I also would like to join Ryan on that creative business enterprises. And I'd also like to join Morgan on the communication, because I feel like that's really important. And if nobody's on the temporary and permanent public art project, hey, why not?
I think there's already 3 for business and communication.
I can, if you want to do the business too, I mean, I'm happy to move over to somewhere else if you need to.
I think you might, because of what you're doing with Santa Rosa, like the film and that sort of thing, I think that it would be best for you to be on that creative business enterprise. You bring a lot to that. So I'd like to, if I may, be on that communication. But was there 3 on that?
Yeah, right now it's me, Meredith, and Scott.
Myself and do temporary review.
I'm also happy to do that. Yeah.
I definitely want to be on temporary and permanent art, public art. So
I'll jump to that.
okay.
And I said I wasn't really going to sign up for anything.
I know.
It's too tempting.
We like all of these. That's why we're on this commission. But bandwidth is, for people that work, a huge issue. So for those of us that don't, that's why I just held back, because it's like I can fill in anywhere.
So for the communications, I'll let Connie have my place there. And I'll move and help her with the temporary permanent public art.
So I think we've got good representation. The only one that we currently only have 1 for, and again, I know this can get vetted a little bit further, but if we do want to dive into some of the 4th of July planning before assigning at the June, would be that continual annual programs. Currently, we have Commissioner Love on that committee. So if there's anyone interested in that one, for the time being, if not, 1 is perfect.
I'm happy to join you.
I can help too, and I think it's been proven that Out of Limon's quite busy, so like getting that going early is probably better than waiting until June.
So could we get a count of what we're on, just to make sure?
Yeah, that's perfect. We're actually running through that now, and I think the first one is our question mark. So on diverse funding right now, we've got Knudsen Was anyone else on that one currently? And Chair Schlelein? Okay. Are you able to run through it? Because I lost track.
So for the treasure artist, I have Chair Schlelein and Commissioner Love. For Momsen, to combine the developing the processes in the public art tool, I have Vice Chair Knudsen, Commissioner Van Wagner, and Commissioner Momsen. Identifying further opportunities, I have Commissioner Reiners, Vice Chair Knudsen, and Commissioner Smull. And the communication strategies, I have Vice Chair Knudsen, Commissioner Van Wagner, and Chair Schlelein. And then lastly, the diverse funding opportunities, I have Vice Chair Knudsen and Chair Schlelein. Is that correct?
And then can we get like an email of like all of the ad hocs we're on? Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
A spreadsheet going.
And for those of you that are new, it sounds like a lot, but you know, it doesn't have to be daunting, and it can be a Zoom meeting here or there, a Google Doc work time. It's actually what we just went through with the Student Artist Award, I think was one of the heaviest lifts we've done in a really long time. So,
Thank you to all the commissioners, and especially to Commissioner Love. I promise, this is not the normal 7-day stretch that we run through as a commission. And from a staff perspective, we will try to make sure that we provide you with that balance, make it enjoyable. We know that this is one of many, many, many responsibilities each of you have, so we will definitely try to balance that.
do we need to approve the ad hocs by a motion?
We do, and I don't expect you to repeat all of that. So
Thank
if you
you.
want to just make a motion to approve the review of the ad hocs that I just stated, that would suffice just one.
Could we have a motion?
I just
I
had a
move to
question.
approve. Oh,
Sorry. My question is, providing there are more time that shows up in my schedule, is this the only opportunity to join an ad hoc? It's not, right?
If we wanted to add additional members to an ad hoc that only has 2 at the moment, we would just need to re-agendize it and bring it back to the commission and make a formal motion for it.
So with that, that's helpful. If you're interested, just please let the chair and myself know, and that way we can add it to the agenda as a quick item.
I move to adopt the ad hoc additions as stated by the staff.
Do we need public comment?
I think we covered that, so we're
Okay,
good.
good. Okay, second.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Smull,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Reiners, Commissioner Momsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Love,
Yes.
Vice Chair Knudsen,
Yes.
Chair Schlelein.
Yes,
Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
thank you. Here's to a great year.
Awesome.
We're already getting things done.
Go team.
So, commissioners' reports and comments comes next, 5.0.
And Chair Schlelein, I just wanted to point one thing out as we're near close to 9 o'clock, is if you did want to make that phone call to the artist that you've selected, I might recommend doing that sooner rather than later. Do we need to make a motion to extend past 9?
We're not taking any new items, so no.
Okay. I might recommend that we do that so it doesn't get past 9 o'clock when we're making that phone call, and I promise the rest of the items, my updates will be very, very brief, so.
Can we put it on speaker? And can we call from sound or from a cell phone, or how do we want to do this?
It'd have to be through someone's cell phone.
Happy to use mine. Or does someone want to call someone else? Let's all call together.
So I have the number for you.
Oh, good. Hello,
Hello.
is this Sienna?
Yes.
Sienna, this is the Cultural and Fine Arts Commission for the City of Sonoma.
Hi, Sienna.
Hi.
And we want to congratulate you. Everybody, congratulations.
Oh my goodness.
Because you are the Student Artist of the Year
Are
for
you
Sonoma.
serious?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Congrats.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, you are very welcome. There,
Oh my God.
there is a opportunity for you to participate in the 4th of July parade. We would love to honor you
wow.
there. And obviously, we'll probably have you at the city council meeting soon so that we can
Yeah.
present your award. But your work was exemplary, and we're very excited for you.
Thank you guys so much. This means a lot. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. That's all I gotta say right now.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah,
You
you
do really great work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're clearly the winner.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is so kind.
And we'll be back in touch with you. City staff will be back in touch with you as well. And we have a merit runner-up, Cassandra. I'm not Castillo is a merit winner. So that person will be getting an award as well, along with you.
Cool.
So, but yes, it's a very exciting night, and we're happy for you, and wish you the
Thank you guys
best.
so much.
You bet. It was an arduous process, but it was a pretty wonderful choice.
Well, thank you guys. Genuinely, it means everything. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks. You too.
That's fun. Very cool.
I wish I had known how formal it was when you guys called me because I believe I swore. I'm so mortified.
Oh, they're so fun though. So 5.0 commissioners' reports and comments. Do any of you have at this hour many comments? Much to say?
I'll be going April 20th to the California Arts Council Arts and Culture Summit in Sacramento. So at our next meeting, I'll have a report back on some things I've learned there. It'll be exciting. Yeah.
Anyone else? Ada Limon, I want to mention to the public and to everyone here that we have the reception coming April 16th at 5:30 in the amphitheater. We've been working hard. It's been a very formal process because we have a celebrity that is also our treasure artist. So, and Commissioner Reiner has done a beautiful job getting us a letterpress of a poem that will be given to each attendee. So it should be really lovely, and it will pass this around so you can see it's just feels so good. You know, it's just so high quality and gorgeous, and so each person attending will be getting one of those too. So we're doing a kind of a natural nature theme with butterflies and and milkweed and different kinds of concepts along that line. So Ada Limon, be sure and come. It's going to be fun. The Plaza Amphitheater, April 16th, and barring rain, hopefully no rain. And we'll have the reception afterwards in the Rose Garden. So it should be quite fun, and we're expecting a big crowd. So that's coming along. And just a few things in the city that you need to know about. Wall to Wall is going on very soon. April 9th is the opening for Wall to Wall at the Vintage House, and a lot of people have been involved in that. That is a fundraiser where artists donate work, and there are some real deals. And so if you like really great artwork for a great price, go to Vintage House and see what, and they've been working, the two nonprofits have been working together on this to benefit the museum. So April 9th through the 24th, final bids in the 24th, and it goes online too. Art Walk is back. We had a lot of people out the other night, and it's first Thursdays, so we're hoping it ramps up even more. It was a lot of fun last time. I made it to 5 venues, so I was excited. Trash and Fashion is on April 18th at the Veterans Building. It's going to be a big deal. I think it's already sold out. So it's really, really fun. If you've never been, it's awesome. But if there's another event that's new, Earth Day, and the Trash Bash will be, our city staff is working with SCC, and Trash Bash will be happening April 25th, 11 to 4, with speakers and panels and recycling and all kinds of really cool things going on there. So that's really cool. And we have a number of people speaking in support of the arts at city council meetings. We've had 13 so far speaking, and we hope to have more. And because we're rolling toward a possible, the nexus of the fee studies for new buildings may be happening. And so Student Film Festival is also, there will be another one, and there's lots of student art shows going on around town. And Valley Vibes Orchestra Vivo is going to perform at the reception for Ada Limon to kick it off.
So
So
cool.
we're really excited and come, and it's going to be super fun. So that's my report. And staff report?
Just a couple of quick ones. You hit most of them, so thank you for those reminders. On the Treasure Artist Reception, the food is being supported by former Commissioner Lauren Kirshner. And so we may need a few extra hands if people happen to be available leading up to that. We'll get all the details by the end of this week, but we're going to be doing a little food prep in preparation of that event. So if people are available that afternoon, we may be looking for a little extra help there.
Will you be at the amphitheater needing that help or somewhere
It's
else?
probably going to be at the kitchen at the community
Okay.
centers where we're going to be doing some of the preparation. But I will get all the details. It was coming together this afternoon, so I'll get you all the details on that front. The Earth Day photo contest closed just the other day, so voting for the community should be up by the end of this week. We'll share those details as well. If you're not familiar, we do an annual Earth Day contest in collaboration with the community center. Love all the work the community center does. They're fantastic partners, and so we'll be doing it's usually led by community vote, and then typically all of the submissions are displayed here in the council chambers, and we'll also be announcing the award winner at that Earth Day Trash Bash event on April 25th. The last thing I have, as you all know, David Gewen's final day as our city manager was this past Friday, and so we got an opportunity to bid him farewell, wish him the best of luck, and Christine Alilovich started as our interim city manager yesterday, so she's on day 2, and look forward to the opportunity to be working with her and for you all to have a chance to meet her and share all the great things you're doing on the commission. So looking forward to working with Christine. I believe that is my updates, and I think Monique may have 1 or 2 items.
I do have one item, just giving a little plug to the commission and anyone watching from the public. Thankfully, this commission is fully seated, but we do have a few vacancies still left on our other commissions. So we have 1 youth commissioner for the Parks and Rec Commission. We have the alternate position on our Planning Commission that is open. And then we have 2 openings on our Historic Preservation Commission. So if you know of anyone who may be interested, please direct them to our website and have them apply. Or if anyone has questions, feel free to direct them to me. So that is all. I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Well, and I think we all really appreciate the 3 of you. Sarah couldn't be here tonight, but the work and the support and the professionalism and the quality of guidance you give us is everything. So we really appreciate it. Thank you. And with that, we get to get out of here.